You unlock this door. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You've just crossed over into
common sense zone. A lot of people have been writing me and saying, it isn't going to get that bad, is it? Guns, generators, food. Well, I am a person that works on logic. And from everything I'm seeing, we're trying to get out of this debt by borrowing. You reach a point, if your household is borrowing, and then your kids start going bankrupt, and then you borrow money from your kids and from everybody else to try to keep this kid going, then you borrow money from everybody, keep that kid going. It won't work. It's going to crumble. So I ended up searching and found a panel of experts who tend to agree with me. Here they are.
Hey, if Gerald Celente wasn't right so many times, he'd be dismissed as another doom and gloom crackpot. But he has been right, and he has predicted correctly many, many times. Well, now he's looking ahead to 4 years of President Obama, get used to saying that, and at least 2 years of solid Democratic control on Capitol Hill. Now, here's a quick synopsis. He says that by 2012, America will become the first undeveloped nation of the world. There will be another tax revolution, Gerald says, in America, marked by food riots, squatter rebellions, tax revolts, and job marches. And on a less political note, Celente says that the holidays will be a toned-down affair. Getting food, not gifts, will be the priority. Gerald Celente joins me now for some Diamond Dialogue. He's CEO of Trends Research Institute. Good to see you again, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we picked the big three trends to focus on because you have many, but let's focus on the most immediate this holiday season. I know in our family we're already saying we're doing Secret Santa. You get one person that you pick, you get one gift for the adults. A lot of people are cutting back for Christmas.
Well, you know, we're going to see a whole change of the Christmas spirit. No more of this obligatory gift buying. So in one way, people are going to get back to maybe the holy meaning of the holiday. That would be a shock, wouldn't it? So we're going to see gifts that are handmade, handcrafted. The local communities are going to do very well, the ones that hold those winter festivals. Less people going to the mall, more local shopping, and more of the gift-giving of maybe making things, you know, exchanging foods like
baking cookies.
Exactly.
And so forth. That's going to really hurt retailers, which we're all expecting this Christmas.
We're going to see the beginning of the end of a retail Christmas. You know, I mean, they just invented this thing maybe 100 years ago. You know, it wasn't always like this. So we're going to see a fundamental shift take place where people are no longer going to be doing the Christmas shopping they used to do.
Gerald, come on. They're going to come out with a new iPod and a multicolor, fantastic thing, a new Xbox something.
Putting food on the table is going to be more important than putting gifts under the Christmas tree. We're going to go into the worst depression worse than the Great Depression.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about that then. You say by 2012, America, you know, we are usually called the developed nation. We're going to be now the undeveloped nation?
Yeah, you know Obama's slogan, yes we can. We're saying no we can't. It's not going to happen. His plans as candidate Obama are no different than President-elect Obama. So there's not going to be any magic bullet here. There is no solving the crisis with swift resolve. So we're going to see a continuing decline. Americans are going to be taking a hit like they've never seen before. All these people that have their McMansions, we have, what, $14 trillion worth of consumer debt?
Right.
And people are losing their jobs every day. America is going to really go through a transition, the likes of which no one's prepared for. Because you well know, people were even denying that we were in a recession just a couple of months ago.
We debated that for months.
I know.
No one could. But still, I mean, people even say, well, technically, you have to have 2 negative GDP quarters until it's technically a recession. I think that debate has been settled. So if this is what you're predicting, and folks, he's been right many, many times, so, you know, you can't just take this with a grain of salt, what he says. You have to take it seriously. What do we do today to prevent for this chaos tomorrow?
Well, the first thing is what the governments are going to do is they're going to try to squeeze more money out of the average person. We're seeing it with virtually every city, every state. They're raising taxes on the people.
Right.
They're raising school taxes, property taxes. We're going to start, the government has to cut back. When you look at where there's job growth, it's only coming from the education sector for public schools and the government. Government has to shrink. They can't keep grabbing more money.
They won't. So what do we do as individuals to prepare ourselves for this inevitable that you're saying?
Well, the first thing is you don't spend a penny more than you could afford. And if your kid is going to college and they're going to get a degree in business administration or psychology or art history, you better start changing your thoughts and send them to a community college and get them a career where there's a return on an investment.
This created the real estate bubble, which burst and created the trickle effect for the collateralized debt obligations and all the other debts around the world, which are now imploding into multi-trillion-dollar catastrophe, all because America didn't want to spend a few months in a little bit of a recession. Well, America's now going to go into an inflationary depression. The U.S. dollar is going to be devalued. It's no longer worth this stuff. It's worth these bananas. That's going to be the new U.S. dollar. I'm looking for gold to go to $2,000 an ounce because people are sick and tired of the lies from Hank Paulson, from Ben Bernanke, from all the central bankers, from Goldman Sachs, from J.P. Morgan. Lies, more lies, nothing but lies. They're swarming into gold, and gold is going to go a lot higher. I know that in the Mideast, in the GCC countries, they're thinking about creating a gold-backed currency. Russia is thinking about creating a gold-backed currency to get out of the dollars. The dollars are the biggest financial terrorist threat facing the world today. This is shocking. You have investment banks that took huge risks. They lost a lot of money. Now these sharks want to go after the retail banks to get their deposits. That's really obscene. The Morgan Stanley looking for a retail deposit. These are savers, people who have worked their lives to save money. Now Morgan Stanley wants to come and take their money. They want to confiscate their money. Where's the government? Where's Bush and Cheney? They should not allow Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs to acquire a retail bank and take control of all those depositors' money. That's out of Russia, 1955. America's become the United States Socialist Republic, the USSR. It's absolutely obscene. As an American myself, this is what I say about the U.S. dollar. It's becoming, it's not wood paper it's printed on. Anyone with dollars, get out now while you still can.
I have mainly fears, because I'm very afraid that the reaction to this crisis, I do think that you're going to see pretty much of a landslide for Obama. I think you're going to see a lot of Republicans losing some seats in the House and the Senate, and he's going to ride into town on a mandate for change. But the change that he's going to deliver is change for the worse.
Schiff, who called the economic collapse in his book Crash Proof, says Obama's plans for bigger government will only dig us into a deeper hole. And as for Paulson and Bernanke's plan to pump good money into bad banks, Schiff says that will only make matters worse.
You say that right now it's worse economically in the United States than it was in the fall of 1929?
Yeah.
How so?
The government is refusing to allow the markets to rebalance the economy. They're trying to reliquefy the markets. They're trying to prop up family companies. They're trying to get more credit into the system. They're trying to get Americans borrowing and spending even more money when what we need is the opposite of that. But I think our industry has now been hollowed out. We have no more savings left. And I think the government could turn the next decade into something even worse than the Depression.
You like gold. You like some of the gold miners. It seems like you're saying is we're going to see some serious inflation going forward. How bad can it get?
It can get very bad. I mean, I've talked about the prospect of hyperinflation in the United States, and that's something that we're actually dealing with. I mean, the government is really trading inflation for depression right now. They think they can inflate our way out of this problem, but they can't. And the underlying problem is once the rest of the world really senses the direction that our currency is going in, and once the creditor nations who have been funding our consumption and buying all our bonds, once they stop doing that, and they will, then the demand for dollars is going to collapse. Maybe the term of Barack Obama will be kind of like a Jimmy Carter. You know, he came in during bad times, took over for Gerald Ford, but then it got worse, and then the country went to Reagan. So maybe we'll make that kind of switch after 4 years of Obama hell.
This is malarkey. This is outrageous.
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.